Good morning everybody, Pope Binary here, and today I'm going to dedicate this video solely to teaching you guys momentum trading and how to read a formal momentum indicator. If you see my other videos on this channel, feel free to go check them out, but in those videos I mentioned momentum a lot, but I haven't really dedicated a video to showing you how to read these momentum readers and understanding the psychology behind traders when it comes to momentum. So before we jump in, here's the quote of the day. One of my rules was to get out when the volatility and the momentum became absolutely insane. That's from Michael Marcus. So without further ado, here is momentum. Hey guys, for this first part of the presentation, I'm just going to present to y'all basically what momentum is and explain it to you first, and then we'll jump into the charts and I'll give you a bunch of examples of instances in which it works and instances in which it doesn't work. So momentum explained, all it really is momentum is simply a measurement of the number of bullish purchases compared to the number of bearish purchases on a given time interval. So what that means is essentially if, like, for example, if there's a lot of bears stepped into the market, if a big red engulfing candle formed in the last 5 minutes or so, then it'd be expected that the momentum of the market would be downwards because a bunch of bears stepped into the market, if that makes sense. Basically, momentum is just it's a tool that a lot of traders use to predict the overall direction of the market based off of the current buying and selling tendencies of the traders. As we can see here, these first set of blue arrows, if you haven't seen my other videos, go check them out, but this is a pattern I look for. If I see a long bearish run followed by a loss in momentum, right? If we can see here, down here, this yellow graphing chart, this is the actual momentum indicator. And this dotted horizontal line here, this is just the middle, right? So if the chart is hovering around the middle, that means there's no real momentum in either direction, okay? So going back to these blue arrows, if we see prior to this first blue arrow up here, there had been a lot of red candles. So if we look down here on the momentum reader, the momentum had been significantly below this dotted horizontal line. And what that means is the momentum had been bearish for a long time. And so when we start to see a peak form, right, where this bottom blue arrow is, if we start to see a peak form right here where the market suddenly turns, then you can expect, if you combine this with a strong candlestick pattern, then you can expect that the market will continue to rise. And obviously you guys are intelligent enough, right? You can see the other two examples here. I've got the red candles, the red arrows, right? This is another candlestick pattern I look for. Check out this link as well. And then obviously there's a huge spike loss, and then the momentum of the market just crashed downward. And likewise, right here, after an extended bearish run, there had been another bullish engulfing candle. So the momentum of the market, there's a huge spike, and then the momentum continued. And so, does it seem too simple? Yes, it really does seem very simple, right? Honestly, I used to do this a lot when I was young too, when I was a beginning trader. And you think just because you see me showing you 3 examples, you're like, oh man, I've discovered the secret to the trading world. I'm about to go make $1 million. But that's not true. You can't simply use momentum indicators. You have to combine them with a number of other factors. Like for me, I look at the overall direction of the market. I look for strong candlestick patterns. I look for Bollinger Bands. If it breaks outside the Bollinger Band, I look for a relative strength index. If you don't know what these are, I'm making videos, or I've already made videos where I describe these. But I'm essentially leading up to where I'll show you my full setup when I'm trading. And subscribe to check out that. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to jump into the charts, and I'm going to show you situations in which momentum works, and then situations in which it doesn't work. Okay, guys, so we're in the charts here, and this is actually the live charts, right? I'm not like cheating y'all out of anything, right? So what we have here is all I've done is I've added just the momentum indicator, and so I want to show you examples in which momentum works and which momentum doesn't work. So one thing I want to point out right now is if you see a peak followed by kind of a plateau, if that makes sense, like the market is really high, and then if you think you see a sudden breakout candle, like after a long bullish run here, for example, let me try and zoom in. For example, right here, if we look at this US-Japan chart, right here, I don't know if you can see, but where I'm clicking right now, there is a bearish candle forming for the first time after an extensive bullish run. And right here, on the momentum chart down here, we can see that the momentum kind of plateaued, right? If there wasn't a spike, if that makes sense, the momentum stayed flat right here, which means I do not touch markets in which the momentum is flat, because you have no idea which direction the market's going to go. It could just continue to stay flat. It could bounce up. It could bounce down. The best time to enter trades are after if you see a large spike in a certain direction, followed by a sudden turn in directions. That's when it's the best time to enter on a momentum trade, if that makes sense. You want to bet off the big spikes. Like, for example, right here, we can see there had been a big spike. And I'm not even looking at the upper chart here, but I'm just looking at the strictly momentum. So right here, as we can see, this would have been the close of the last 5 minutes. I would have seen to the left of this vertical line I'm highlighting on this momentum chart at the bottom, there had been a spike forming, right? Do you see this, how a spike had formed? And so I would have bet down, if that makes sense, if it combined in a strong candlestick pattern. Unfortunately, this right here is not a strong candlestick pattern, so I wouldn't have taken the trade regardless. But you see my point. If you see a spike forming after a large spike in a certain direction, then you can expect that the momentum is switching directions. That is the best time to use momentum. And so that's when momentum works best. If you see momentum, if you just kind of see a flat momentum where the market isn't really doing anything, like right here, for example, we can see that there'd been a large over here on the left, we can see there'd been a large bullish run, and then the market had just stayed flat here for a bit. So I would not have touched any sort of trade here, because the market did not have a clear momentum trend. Another thing I want to point out to y'all is the best time to use momentum readers are when they are significantly above or significantly below this vertical horizontal dotted line. So because right here, even though there was a little spike right here, this wouldn't have been the best time to enter a trade, right? Whereas like right here, this would have been a fantastic opportunity to enter a trade if a strong candlestick pattern formed. Unfortunately, as we can see in the top half of the graph, there wasn't a strong candlestick pattern right here, so I wouldn't have entered the trade. But this is basically, momentum trading is very simple. Just go ahead and throw this on your trading software that you use. It's a great reader, and just test this out on your own. Obviously, just because I'm telling you this doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You're going to have to play around with this on your own to figure out situations in which you can understand it and make it work. Don't ever use something you can't understand. And that's basically momentum trading. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how I did. Let me know if you have any questions. And best of luck trading. Catch you on the next one.